Okay, so this video is talking about how you go from chemical names to chemical formulas. And this video, we're only going to be talking about metal and non-metal, okay? From names to chemical formula. Now, typically it's when you have metal and non-metal, first off on your periodic table, you will have, remember, you do have a line that separates everything on this side being metal, everything on this side being metal, and there's a few items here that are called metalloids, okay? So whenever you see one of these metals and non-metals combining together, you can tell from the name. So for example, I'm just going to make one up right now. Lithium oxide. Okay, lithium oxide. That will be the first example. So in this case, what you do, first off, you do need to know the names and symbols of the element. That's why that's one of the things you need to start. And so in this case, what you do, now, one thing is this. Because do remember that all the elements except noble gas want to have a full octet. Okay, full octet is having 8 valence electrons or 8 electrons on the outermost shell. Because they want to do that, what they will tend to do is that metals would like to lose electrons, so they become positive, and non-metals like to gain electrons, so they will become negative. So one easy way to do this would be everything on this column, with the exception of hydrogen, being +1. This will be +2. We're going to skip the transition metal because a lot of times they have more than one valence. +3, plus or -4, -3, -2, -1. And do remember that noble gases don't form any compounds. Okay, so in our situation here, lithium oxide. Lithium is in this first column, so lithium is +1 or 1 plus. Oxide is oxygen, and since oxide or oxygen is in this column, it will be -2. Okay, so you first figure out the name of the symbol plus the charge. Now what we're going to do is something called crossover rule. So what you do now is you take the charge from one element and you give it to the other element, and then you throw away the sign. So in this case, the +1 from the lithium will go to the oxygen, so oxygen will have a 1. The -2 from the oxygen will go to the lithium, so it's Li, and you take away the sign, Li2. Okay? And so, now for chemistry, a lot of times these kind of things, you have an invisible 1. Just the fact that you show that you have a O there means there is an oxygen atom. Okay, so in this case, you make this 1 invisible, so it's Li2O. So the chemical formula for lithium oxide will be lithium Li2O. Okay, let's do another example. So the second one, let's just do aluminum sulfide. Aluminum sulfide. So in this case, aluminum, Al, it's this column's +3. Sulfur, or sulfide, sulfur, it's underneath oxygen, so it's S, and it's -2. So you take this, you give it to the S. So in this case, you have S3. You take the -2, you give it to the aluminum, so it's Al2. Okay, so the formula for the aluminum sulfide will be Al2S3. Okay, now the last example, this one has something interesting to it. So let's just say we're going to do magnesium oxide. Okay, now magnesium in this column, so it's +2. Oxide, which is oxygen, again is 2 minus 2. You do the crossover rule again. So the -2, give it to magnesium, so it becomes a 2. The +2, you give it to oxygen, is also 2. Now, this is the interesting part, because these two are, if you think about it, it's almost like a fraction. You can reduce it to 1 to 1, okay? So they have a common factor of 2. So in this case, you will reduce that just like you reduce a fraction. So right now, you reduce it to Mg1O1, or you make it invisible. So it will be MgO, okay? So whenever you see numbers after you do the crossover rule, you notice that, hey, you can reduce that number. Make sure you reduce it, okay? So I hope this video helps. I'll make another video for polyatomic ions, and also chemicals that have more than one valence, okay? So I hope this helps. Please let me know if you have other questions, and good luck.